Good evening. I'm Neman Indelembetiki of the Fiji Sun. Welcome to Fiji's only TV editorial show. This week on my Say, I will talk about attempts to try to destabilize the government. Fijians who live in ivory towers overseas and take pot shots at programs to rebuild this country need to do some serious soul searching. Their attempts via social media to encourage people here to take law into their own hands and destabilize the government through violent means are irresponsible and a national shame. It shows they do not care about what happens to this country if it descends into civil unrest. This type of agitation is symptomatic of the kind of extremism that has turned some countries into states of anarchy. People are free to express themselves under our democracy, but those expressions must be done within the bounds of the law. Those are democratic principles that are guaranteed in our Constitution and many other jurisdictions. They are there to protect every citizen and safeguard their interests. The same forces that were there in 1987 and 2000 are making a comeback in a different form to reassert their influence on especially the Itoke. The overseas connection has been prominent because they are alleged to be providing the funding, organization and moral support in a concerted drive to destabilize the Bainimarama government. They are totally out of touch with the majority of people in Fiji who support peace and progress. They have had enough of the political turmoils like the 1987 and 2000 coups, which plunged this country into political chaos and economic ruin. Many were used as political pawns by selfish and self-centered politicians and community leaders who exploit the common people and thrive in conflicts and derive financial benefits from them. They use race, culture and religion to divide Fijians and communities and breed distrust and hatred. They are at it again, targeting ordinary villagers and the unemployed. Only the gullible will be swayed. In the Fiji Sun Saturday edition yesterday, it carried a thought-provoking article by a former soldier who was actively involved in the overthrow of the Mahendra Chaudhry-led government in 2000. His name is Matthew Napakasuosua, now living in Sydney, and he said, I quote, "Today, I've regretted my involvement in the May 19, 2000 attempted coup, as I'm still facing the consequences of it, despite the fact that I have served my jail term and lived in Australia for the past 12 years. In 1999, failed politicians, church ministers, and corrupt businessmen talked us into taking part by telling us of what we wanted to hear. They also brainwashed us into believing that we were there to protect the Itoke race by overthrowing a democratically elected government. What I did not realize then was that we were being used to fulfill their political agendas. Midway through the 2000 political crisis, it began to dawn on me that I had been used. This was after the very same people who were supposed to be backing us up had jumped ship to accept top positions in the then interim government. They turned their backs on us and we were thrown into jail. As I sat and thought hard of what had recently transpired in my province, it surely was history repeating itself. The evil elements of 2000 are back, probably in a different form, doing its best to mislead people and bring about instability to the nation as a whole. Mr. Napakasuosua has pleaded with all Fijians not to be easily swayed by the elements. Again, he says, and I quote, "Fiji now has a democratically elected government in place. This is the way forward for all Fijians and the betterment of their future generations. I am pleading with all the chiefs of the Vanua of Ra to stop entertaining such rebellious attitudes and work together with government for the development of the province." Close quote. I agree, and I fully endorse his statement. I am Neman Indelembetiki, and that was my Say this week. For more of my views, you can read the Fiji Sun. See you next week.